Hi everybody, it's Dandruff with your news Cartridge for Tuesday, May 29th, 2018. Welcome back everyone. I know yesterday's show was a sad one, but we must continue on as there is always news, and I am happy to be the one to bring it to you. Just as a quick note, today's co-optional podcast was done as a memorial to Total Biscuit, and it's really worth checking out once the VOD is available. For all of today's stories, timestamps, and reference links can all be found down below. We begin today with yet another game being removed from Steam, and this one you may have heard about from the latest Jimquisition called Active Shooter, a game where you take the role of a police officer or the perpetrator in a school shooting. Yes, that's right, that's how low the bar is on Steam. Games where you play the role of a domestic terrorist were being developed and were going to be made for sale on Valve's storefront. So then it's obvious why this game was removed, right? Because it could encourage sick and twisted behavior. Yeah, no. Not Valve. Valve's official statement is because the developer, called Revived Games, is in fact one Ada Berdiev, an infamous asset flipper who is no longer welcome on Steam. I have other knowledge of the publisher Acid reaching out to Valve asking if anything needed to be changed with Active Shooter. Valve did not respond, and a subsequent ban for all of their games was issued, which I think is completely childish on Valve's behalf. Even games that had nothing to do with Berdiev. So let's count how many times Valve has fucked up in this instance. 1. They were going to allow a game where you play a domestic terrorist and go around shooting up a school full of innocent children. 2. Valve banned the game, not for it being a terrible idea, but because it was associated with a banned developer. And 3. After the publisher asked if they should do anything about it, Valve gave no response and banned all of their games. Valve should not be this type of robotic corporation and should really look into context. What if this developer was actually allowed onto Steam? Does that mean Active Shooter would have been allowed too? And if this isn't the icing on the cake, Berdiev is claiming the game has no association to him and is giving an interview to PC Gamer to clarify the situation. Let it be known that it doesn't matter if it has anything to do with Berdiev or not. This awful thing is off of Steam, and while it may be the right thing for the wrong reason, I am hopeful that things won't get any worse. But I know it's Valve, and they won't do anything unless a big enough fuss is caused. I'm sure it'll be very enlightening to read Berdiev's interview, and will line the bottoms of dog kennels very nicely. Next up, we have 2 release announcements coming to us from the land of the rising sun. Valkyrie profile Lenneth is now available on Android and iOS from Square Enix. And then here is Black Clover Quartet Knights, releasing on September 14th for PC and PS4 from Bandai Namco. Moving on to updates, and there's only one for today, and a bit of an obscure game, Spintires getting a new map and a new mode and 2 new vehicles. Full patch notes are down below as always. EA revealed today the PC requirements to run the recently revealed Battlefield 5, and all things considered, not that high for minimum. The recommended specs are coming later, and if you need help figuring out if you can run Battlefield 5, just let me know if you need help in the comments and I will personally help you out. Next up is some PUBG news, with the new Sanhok map returning this weekend for another beta test. I played this one a little bit and I really liked it, and if you haven't, you should give it a try. It really increases the pace of the game. Then the next thing that everyone has been talking about for the last 2 days because it has finally happened, PUBG Corp has sued Epic Games for copyright infringement over Fortnite. PUBG is claiming the UI for Fortnite was way too similar, and Epic used PUBG as part of their marketing for Fortnite. For those of you who are thinking it's over the idea of Battle Royale, no, it's not. But they may have some sort of standing, at least according to Whiskers. Personally, I think this is just a scare tactic that PUBG is just so crazy that they'll sue anybody, even the people who make the engine for their game. It's a tactic that has worked for others in the past, and I'm not so sure if it's going to work for them now. Stay tuned to News Cartridge for more on both PUBG and Fortnite. Coming in next, Bethesda tweeted today asking all citizens to please stand by, indicating something Fallout related is on the horizon. From what I can gather, this is an announcement of a Fallout 3 Remastered Edition coming to all modern platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. Yes, this means Fallout 3 will be playable without any unofficial patches. Fix your shit, Bethesda. Speaking of the Switch, Nintendo has confirmed today the Dockless Switch bundle, which I had mentioned in a previous episode, will not be releasing to the US or indeed anywhere outside of Japan. I don't think this is a good decision for them because the lower price makes it more accessible to those who want to use it as a purely portable system, and you can always buy a dock later. It also makes sense for households that already have a Switch, and you may only want to dedicate one TV to having a dock, so in this instance, owning multiple docks would be pointless. Would you buy a Switch for $50 less, which is roughly 35 British pounds, if it didn't come with a dock? Let me know down below. Speaking of never seeing the light of day, the Steam Link app, which I've been playing around with in my spare time, has been denied by Apple and cannot release for iOS devices. Apple is citing business conflicts for their reasoning, but this makes little, if any, sense. There are already other desktop streaming apps available on the Apple Store, and Valve had even gotten approval for their app, but it was revoked 2 days after launch because Apple didn't realize it conflicted with their guidelines somehow. Normally I don't think this would be that big of a deal, but Valve had gotten approval for it, so they had every indication to go forward with what they had planned. Valve says they hope Apple would reconsider, and I hope they would too, because it's a great piece of technology that has a lot of potential. But maybe that's the problem. Finally for today, the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, seems to be drinking their own Kool-Aid and are now claiming that getting rid of loot boxes will stifle creativity. You really have to be desperate if you're down to the "we can pay people if we make more money," because it fails to realize that creating games is an art form and many people would create games just for the fun of it. When you look at the definitions of gambling throughout the world, it's quite different to the mechanisms with loot boxes in games, says Mike Gallagher, failing to realize that random chance for prizes is random fucking chance for prizes. And yeah, that's exactly what should rule our lives. Dictionary definitions. Maybe this guy should go work for Valve. Taking it one day at a time. Time for tomorrow's game releases. For PC, Bless Online, Detective Gallo, Save One More, Sword Legacy Omen, and Lagoon Lounge, The Poisonous Fountain. For Xbox One, Die for Valhalla, Knights of Pen and Paper, +1 Deluxe Year Edition, and Zamp Redux. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been News Cartridge. I am Dandruff. I will see you tomorrow. And are quantum computers going to change the world? Yes and no. It's called The Superposition. Go read a book. Click up here to watch the bonus episode for today's show. Click down here to watch yesterday's episode, which was about remembering Total Biscuit. And click over here to subscribe to my wonderful, wonderful channel. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.